everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new here, and welcome to episode 5 of the Build Your Own Budget Planner Using a Notebook series. I hope that this series is helping you out so far or that you're following along. For this episode, I'm going to be creating April's first biweekly paycheck budget as well as a variable expense tracker. It's kind of different from how I usually track my expenses, but I think since I'm going to be doing this on paper, I wanted to make things a little bit easier for me as far as expense tracking goes. So I want to try this out. But before we get into that, let me just show you guys what we have worked on so far. So far we have created a budget overview / master list, a budget category breakdown, and I'll link the episodes down below if you want to see more specifics or details on how I set these up. There's also a debt overview video with a debt balance tracker as well. And then last week, and we also set up financial goals as well and gave you some tips on how to set that up. And then last week we set up a budget calendar, and this is for April. I did add a few things that has come up already since I have filmed that video, so those are the things that's not highlighted over here, but this is going to be at the very front page before our biweekly paycheck budget. So you will see the budget calendar first, and then next up we are going to be setting up a biweekly paycheck budget. That's going to go here on this side, and then on this side it's going to be a variable expense tracker. Again, it's going to look a little bit different, and I'll kind of explain why after I have set it up. But yeah, so for now I'm just going to go ahead and just fast forward through this and kind of explain how I set everything up. Okay, so this is how the first biweekly paycheck budget setup looks like. It's not as neat as I thought I was gonna get it, but hey, it works. I understand what I wrote and everything, and my whiteout for some reason wasn't working, so I have a lot of crossouts right here. I did just go ahead and update this. My husband does know what he's going to be getting paid tomorrow, and rent is also due, and I know that's going to be rolled over. I had originally budgeted that in the second paycheck budget for March, but I still haven't dropped it off yet. I'm going to do that later this afternoon. It's currently Thursday, March 31st. So yeah, so hopefully that'll clear tomorrow for sure. So my starting balance is big because it includes 3 things: our cushion, which is $300 if everything goes according to plan when I close out our budget tonight, our rent, which is $13.95, and then also a our sponsorship money that we usually send every 2 weeks. I didn't get a chance to send it last time, so I'm rolling it over to this paycheck budget. So this is how everything looks like. All of our bills right here, our income here with our starting balance, sinking funds here. I normally wouldn't have accounted for this many lines, but we do plan to transfer sinking funds from my sinking fund, my husband's sinking fund, and our fun and events sinking fund. So yeah, normally this wouldn't have that many lines, but just in case, I like to have it here because instead of trying to white everything out later on, I like to have the space for just in case. Same thing here with the bills. It is a lower, our bills isn't as much for this half of the paycheck budget, or for this half of the month. So yeah, so we don't need to put a lot of lines on here, but then I just still leave a couple blank over here just in case. So we have our cushion, electricity, my laundry app, rent, and then sponsorship, and then anything else that needs to go here that I might have forgotten can go in there. And then our variable spending here, our variable categories pretty much stayed the same. So food, we budgeted $400. We spent $400 last time, and I had budgeted $350. So I'm going to keep it at $400. There's a couple big staple items that we need to buy. And we like to buy them in bulk at Sam's Club or Costco. So that's what I'm going to budget for now. Transportation is at $250. We did spend $245, which is $50 over our budget, the last paycheck budget. So I'm going to leave it at $250. Household, $40, kids, $100. I do have a list on my monthly budget calendar of the things that could be expenses for the kiddos. My husband, $160, myself, $80. And I put asterisks here So myself, my husband, and Fun and Events to just let me know or give me a heads up that like those are from our sinking funds. So what I do is with our regular budget. So for me, for example, I usually like to budget 35 to 40 or 30 to 40. And then I just added the 45 to that budget, which gives me $80. Hopefully that makes sense. And the same thing for my husband. We usually budget $100 for him, but we added $60 so that he can pay for earbuds that he put on a credit card. So that's just to remind me to pay for that. Healthcare $30, miscellaneous $50, then Fun and Events $1,000. I did put our Legoland passes on my Barclay card, so I need to make sure I pay that. I do have reminders. I have my budget calendar to make sure that I don't miss that payment. So total for our variable spending is $2,110. And then moving on to our savings, we have quite a bit that we are saving for. I know it looks like a long list. I did put some numbers over here on the side, and it just kind of tells me, it's kind of reminding myself what the priority is, and that is to finish funding our emergency fund. And then our Legoland trip, which is coming up, which we don't have. I was taking a look at our savings for that. We don't have that much left to save for it. I think the $50 would be just fine. And then Hawaii would be number 3, and then my Roth IRA, which I'm taking from my business. So whatever I pay myself for my business will go to my Roth. And everything else, so Christmas, that's not till December, so we have some time. Vehicles, Fun and Events, which I did switch up some of the names in my savings tracker, which I'll share next week. And then we have kids, my husband, myself, house down payment, and college. So Hawaii is coming up in September, and that one's a pretty hefty goal. So that is one of our top priorities to save for. So yeah, so this month we're able to put, or this paycheck budget, we're able to put $800 towards our emergency fund, Christmas $125, Hawaii $520, and then Legoland $50, which gives us a total of $14.95. It might get adjusted depending on how much we are left with when I close out our March budget. So we will see. And then down here, we don't have debt, but I did want to put this on here just for those of you guys following along. I do recommend putting one of these in there if you guys are in debt and are trying to pay off your debt. I think that this section really helps. And then totals here, so total income. So basically we follow the zero-based budgeting method. And so basically what it is your income minus expenses, and you want to get that down to 0. So income for us is at $5,595 minus all of our bills, which is $1,990, minus variable expenses, which is $2,110, minus our savings, which is $1,495, and we're left with 0. But I did make a note that $300, should everything go according to plan, should be left over, and that $300 serves as our cushion. So that is just left to be there for just in case anything happens, something that I didn't budget for that I forgot to, but we needed to, have that expense in there. So that is what that is for. $300 is what we're comfortable with right now. That's just in case, so that if we don't have time to grab or to transfer money from our emergency fund, that's pretty much what that's there for. So that is it for the biweekly paycheck budget. And I had originally planned to put a variable expense tracker on the right side of it. So I was having a little bit of a trouble trying to fit all of our expenses in. We are a family of 4, so we do have, I feel like, more expenses than if I was just by myself. So if I'm going to be doing this the way I had intended, I need the 2 pages. So it's going to be a variable expense tracker on 2 pages. So these are all of our variable expenses. And the reason why I wanted to do this is so that as we are spending for, let's say, food, food has a lot of lines clearly over here. You know what? I forgot to put the budget amounts. Hold on. Okay, so now that I have my budget amount on there, so what this is meant for is that, so you don't have to do your weekly check-ins as often, or daily check-ins if that's how you do it. So as you write down what you have spent, so let's say if I spent money at Sam's Club, we spent $100 there, so I'll put spent 100, And then I'll just go ahead and put our remaining or our running balance. So I'll take the $400 that we're starting out with minus the 100, and that tells me I have $300 left. That's just to keep me on track to make sure that I'm not overspending. We only have one checking account that goes for both bills and our variable spending. So this kind of helps me stay on track to make sure that I don't dip into the money that is meant to be for our bills. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to try it out. I was kind of feeling a little overwhelmed setting it up this way because I was trying to figure out how many lines. So I just looked back at our old expense trackers to see on average how much lines we really use for each category. I might not use all of the lines, I might, but we'll see. I don't know. I have a feeling after this I'm going to go back to the other way that I used to track our expenses, which is just basically kind of like a check register, just to make sure that my checking account is still in balance. But I'm going to try out this way and see how I like it. And yeah, and maybe give you guys another way to track your variable expenses, because I do get questions, DMs, emails as well about how to, keep track of your variable expenses if you're using a debit card. Because if you're using a cash envelope, it's easy to see how much you have left in each cash envelope. But if you're swiping a debit card, sometimes you need to put in a little bit more work, calculate everything. So hopefully this helps you out. I think for sure for me, I'm going to go back to the way it was, and then I'll just do like bi-weekly check-ins or weekly check-ins or something to make sure I'm still in balance. So hopefully this at least helped someone out there. Let me know if you do it this way or if you track a different way. I'd really like to know. It's kind of cool to me to hear how differently people budget, and whatever works for you works best for you, and just keep doing that. I hope that this video was super helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below how often you budget. Do you budget weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, especially for watching till the end, and I will talk to you in my next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.